like we've been saying, Alex, that there is still a good amount of talent left on the free agent market. And so here's some three names that still haven't been signed as of yet, and their potential landing spots. The first one I wanted to bring up is former Saints linebacker Quan Alexander, a guy that's very talented. He's a real versatile guy, really good. Right there playing the inside and playing the middle of the field, helping out the run game. He's a multi. He has a bunch of tools in his tool belt, so to say, and mostly a cap casualty from the Saints. Great talent that you would love to keep, but with the Saints being like sort of negative $70 million in the hole this offseason, you're not gonna be able to keep everyone. And I got three teams that he would be great for. One of them is the Los Angeles Rams that have a real solid defense, one of the best in the league. But they still, if they have a weakness, it's at that inside linebacker position. You have the Green Bay Packers, who arguably missed out on Patrick Peterson. Their biggest move this offseason was re-signing Aaron Jones, which of course fantastic re-sign. They needed that, but they still haven't done anything on the defensive side of the football for years now. At least nothing major. They've always been the team that will draft and will build through the draft. And that only gets you so far because apparently that only gets you championship game appearances, going with what the Packers are doing. So they need to make a splash. But my best number one spot for him is a team that's been bolstering the hell out of their defense this offseason. A team, like I said, still third in cap space, and a team that needs help at the linebacker position. That is the Denver Broncos. I think that's the best spot for him, and I think that's the team that will benefit the most, and maybe the more realistic landing spot given cap space and allotment and what you're actually able to do with contracts.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think the Broncos are an absolutely great fit for Quan, um, especially with just what Quan brings to the table. He's a ball hawking, extremely fast east to west middle linebacker that can call out the defense, that can get your guys organized. He's not great in pass coverage, but he's serviceable in that direction, and his instincts and his speed to run down guys, especially that Chiefs offense, is going to be extremely valuable. And but I think the Packers have missed out on a middle linebacker the last two off seasons, and we're clamoring for Quan Alexander to be traded to the Packers last time when he went to the Saints.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think why not complete everything. The Packers missed on this guy three times already. Let's give him a fourth shot at it. Let's bring him in. Let's solidify the middle of that Green Bay defense, and especially when the calendar starts turning to December, January, and things start getting a little colder in Green Bay, and their offenses that they play against start to shift to a more run style, more short pass, start to adjust the offense in that direction to move for the weather. Quan Alexander would be invaluable in that situation because of his speed and because of his instincts and his tackling ability. So I think he probably does land on to somewhere like the Broncos, somewhere with cap space like that.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to break the bank, but I think it'd be a lot of fun to see him on the Packers and see what he can do.
Certainly would make Aaron Rodgers a happy camper up there. The next name I want to talk about is a guy that we were talking since the beginning of free agency. That's edge rusher Melvin Ingram. The Chargers like cut him essentially, or they said they weren't going to resign what feels like a year ago, and he still hasn't been signed yet. We've given the teams that he'd be great on. Alex said the Raiders. That obviously helped them go from one of the least improved to at least having a good offseason that you could rest your cap on. He will be great in Miami, and also the Panthers do still need an edge rusher to go along with the defense they've been building up. So that's another great spot. But the biggest question here is why hasn't he been signed? This is a head scratcher to me. I'm really confused. Is he asking for too much?
Yeah, I don't know if he's seeing those other numbers of the Trey Hendricksons and the Carl Lawsons and saying, "Oh, I'm significantly better than those guys. I need to be up in the 17, 18, $19 million range." But I don't think with his injury history he warrants that. So I think this is a very, very similar situation to the Jadeveon Clowney thing we had happen last year, where he's asking for this huge number, is willing to go for a shorter term, high money deal, but that deal's just not on the table right now. And as you see teams dwindling with cap space, his representation is going to have to adjust what they're expecting out of this free agency deal, because that money's just not out there. Those spots just aren't out there. So you're probably going to see him take a 1-2 year deal, worth around what those other guys were getting. And it's just going to be have to prove a deal. You're going to have to do that just given your injury history, and I think that's warranted right now.
And then the last guy I would like to talk about is a legend, surefire Gold Jacket Hall of Famer. He's going to be in the halls of Canton, if not 4 years, maybe 5, maybe 6 at the most. You know, but Larry Fitzgerald, his future in Arizona still isn't guaranteed. Nothing's been solidified. There's been talks by these sides, but now there's these rumors that are starting to pour in. Maybe he returns to his home state in Minnesota and throws on the purple and yellow for one last season, and he maybe helps out that Justin Jefferson and aid that receiving core in a team that isn't really gonna be contending for championships, but they're trying to bring him in. Maybe he gets his last season in NFL is in his home state with a young guy that he can help out. But really, I can't imagine Larry Fitzgerald in anything other than the red and black. It just doesn't look right. It's not right. It doesn't sound right. I think Larry Fitzgerald either retires or he signs another 1 year deal with the Arizona Cardinals. But with how long it's taking, I'm kind of getting a little nervous that maybe these Minnesota rumors are a little more substantiated than we were once led on to believe.
This definitely isn't one of those impactful moves of the offseason, but it's one of the impactful moves for just Larry Fitzgerald's legacy, as a whole, because there's something just so cool about getting drafted to a team, spending a Hall of Fame career all with one team. And I think he just loses some of that, well, warranted that he's going back to a home state, and it's, a cool story to go back to where he started from. But, I just don't think it's worth it for him. And it's like, what do you need another year out of this thing for? If the Arizona doesn't want you back, if you don't want to sign a contract there, sign a 1 day contract, retire with the Cardinals, and call it a career, because he's not producing on the field anymore. If he really wants to go in that mentorship, let me bring in a young receiving core along, just be a coach, dude. You don't need to be a receiver to do that. You can have impacts in other ways. So I don't think it's worth it for him to leave Arizona. If a deal's on the table with Arizona and he wants to come back for a year, that's awesome. If it's not, hang it up and move on from there. It just doesn't seem like it's too. It doesn't seem like it's warranted to go join Minnesota for a last shot at it.